Okay, and good afternoon viewers. Welcome to the second edition of Tiger TV. My name is Tony Symonds. I'm your host and interviewer again this week, and today we've got Suzanne Lonie, who's the Deputy Mayor of Holdfast Bay Council and also the patron of the Glenelg Football Club Women's League. Welcome, Susan.
Good afternoon. Hello. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out and making yourself available today. Now tell us, how did you end up in a role like you've currently got at Glenelg Football Club?
So I'm fortunate to have been on council this is my third term now, and I'm currently the Deputy Mayor of Holdfast Bay, which is a wonderful position to hold. I was approached to be patron of the Glenelg women's football team because I am the Deputy Mayor of Holdfast Bay and I've lived in this area all my life, so I was quite thrilled to be approached to do that position.
Well, the obvious next question is, if you lived in Brighton all your life, who did you barrack for in the SANFL, and tell us how you got involved in the SANFL as a kid?
So of course, living in Brighton, I had to barrack for Glenelg. There was no other team that I could possibly barrack for, and I have always barracked for Glenelg. And the colours for me for both Brighton teams and Glenelg teams, thankfully, are black and yellow, so that's what I've been supporting all my life. And as a kid, I think I just played football, really just mucking around in the yard. I didn't actually ever play on a team, but I've always been aware of the Glenelg football team and used to come and watch them play.
Okay, fantastic. And have you been out to have a look at some of the footy so far the girls have been playing?
Yes, I have. I've been a bit limited in what I can see, but I certainly have been out to see some of it, and it's great to watch.
It's been very impressive so far, and of course Councillor have been quite involved in a lot of negotiations with the footy club. We probably can't talk about that today, but obviously the relationship's been probably strengthened in some ways between Council and the football club with what's happened with the grandstand over the last few months.
Yes, it has, and that's obviously a bit of work that's continuing with the grandstand and the way forward. What's the best thing to actually do for the club and for all the clubs that are here, and for the continuation of Glenelg as a great sporting centre. That's clearly very important to Council.
Yeah, and women's sport, it's been amazing, perhaps more so over the last 6 to 12 months, but it's been getting plenty of publicity, and that's got to be good for everyone, particularly getting young females involved in any sort of sport, but more particularly football.
Yes, quite. It's important for girls just in general. I think these days what we're seeing is equalisation of pay starting to get there, and we still have a long way to go, but it's starting to get into all sports. And there's a realisation that girls, when they're very small, play sports as do boys, but in some sports they get to an age where they can't continue. So I think particularly our council is thrilled that we have one of the 4 teams, and that girls have somewhere to go once they reach the age where traditionally they've had to stop playing sport.
Well, I suppose really in a seaside council like we are, it's always been an issue with female sport getting to the age of 13 or 14 where they couldn't play football any longer just because of the rules of the time. Now there's a pathway for everyone to be involved, and that's not just in sport, I suppose, it's in business, obviously in council, and every facet of life.
Yes, that's true. We try in today's society is trying to equalise as much as we can, and as I said, there is quite a way to go. It's actually International Women's Day this Friday, and there's events happening all across Adelaide all week, even on radio, about highlighting what women do and having women in positions. And I guess it doesn't make sense. I've got young nieces. It doesn't make sense to them that they can play a sport up to a certain age, and then because they reach a certain age they can't continue. So we're certainly trying to change that.
International Women's Day on Friday, you said?
Yes, it is.
Right, okay. Well, I wasn't aware of that, but we'll celebrate that. Not sure what day this will be hitting the media side of things, but probably Wednesday, so it'll be a couple of days before that. So there's a good excuse there for many females to go out for breakfast, more particularly lunch in my opinion, or even dinner. And there's a bit of a hint for everyone to enjoy what's going to be a fantastic day celebrating women and also women in sport. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Hey viewers, and a big welcome now to Narelle Smith, the coach of the Glenelg Football Club women's side, and her skipper, Cassie Hartley. Welcome, girls.
Thanks, Tony.
Great to have you both here. Why don't we start with the coach? How does someone get into a gig like this? Now, I've been there and done this at senior level with the blokes, and I know what goes on. How did you get the role, and how are you finding it the first couple of months?
Oh, look, it's been really hectic. I obviously was already involved with Glenelg Football Club in the reserves men's, and so we have like the full senior coaching panel with 6 of us under Maddie Loken, and so I think it was just a natural movement, progression towards me being the senior coach for the women when the guys got the licence. And I think Glenn Elliott was pretty excited to have a female as a coach. So it was good. It was good.
Fantastic. It's been a slight roller coaster start to the year. A win, a loss that probably shouldn't have happened, but we all know about that can happen in footy, and then a great win on the weekend. Tell us about it.
Yeah, look, we've discussed it like as a leadership group and with the players and stuff, and we thought probably what happened is that there was such excitement for round 1, and we were so up, and then we came out and we had a really convincing win, and you know, we played exactly how we wanted to play, and we actually scared ourselves about how good we thought we could be, and then we just went for round 2 against North. But take nothing away from North, they were fantastic, and they were probably the opposite. So they started off a bit shaky and came out firing against us and were fantastic. So what I like about it is that it shows that on any day, any of these sides out there can win. So, and I reckon that makes a great competition.
Fantastic. Now, Cassie, a girl from Melbourne ends up... Mildura. Well, it's on the way. Somehow ends up as captain of the Glenelg Football Club women's side. Tell us about your journey. I know you've had a lot of success yourself with premierships and grand finals, but how did your journey end up getting you here to Glenelg?
I think my journey with Glenelg actually started as probably a 5-year-old when my grandpa and uncle bought me a Glenelg Football Club Tiger, and who would know that would probably lead to here, and I still have that Tiger. So I started in Mildura. My grandpa lived in Adelaide and he was a Glenelg supporter, so naturally I became a Glenelg supporter. Grew up in Mildura, came to Adelaide to go to uni, and somehow I've ended up here. So
here you are.
Yeah.
Now it must be difficult in a way because the way I understand it these days in footy clubs, captains are voted on by their peers, and I'm assuming that's what's happened here. Does that compromise you at times in terms of being able to go hard at the girls on the track or during a game? Because it's never a popularity poll, as we know, but it's a fine line between keeping everyone happy and getting the best out of each other. So how do you sort of balance that from time to time?
I think that there's a mutual respect among all the group. I don't think it matters who you are, what age you are, where you've come from. We've been brought together from all different clubs, and I think that everyone just respects anyone. So if someone's got something to say, you take it for what it is, and that's the tight-knit, amazing group that we've got, honestly, that people take feedback on board, and we embrace it.
I'm sure that would make the coach's job a little bit easier. Now, the mail around town, Narelle, is that the Glenelg girls are pretty hard at it, pretty tough when the opposition's got the ball, gang tackling and all the rest of it, which is legal if it's done the right way. Is that a reflection of your own playing style, or is that just something that you've engineered into these girls right from day one?
I think I probably was known as a pretty hard-hitting kind of player. I was, for what I lack in height, I kind of made up with gusto around the ball. And it's definitely something that we've focused on about, we want to win the inside ball, but as soon as we win the inside ball, we want to get it outside and get the ball moving. So I think it's a testament to the group that they've embraced that, and probably for a lot of them, they've never heard a lot of this terminology before about, actually how we want to play, and so they've embraced it massively, and I think we're really hard at it. But I think the whole comp's actually pretty hard at it, and I think if you look and reflect on the AFLW, I think that's something that has really blown a lot of spectators away, is the hardness of the girls, and it's a real shift in society, I think, to see, okay, well, women can play full contact sport. So and we've embraced that and we love it.
Sure. Now, I assume, Cassie, we're halfway through the minor round season, 3 games into a 6-season program. From what I've seen, I think you were named at centre half back a couple of weeks ago, named as a ruck rover last week, so obviously we're still experimenting a little bit in terms of who's fitting in where. Where do you prefer to play, and does that fit in with what the coach wants?
I play wherever the coach wants me to play.
Very smart answer.
Very well with what the coach wants. No, I'm happy to play back and get a run through the midfield. It's wherever we fit. It's a pretty flexible style we've got. 16-a-side, I think, changes the positions a fair bit. So the traditional centre half back role is probably more of a running role. So
Right.
I'm loving my position.
Oh.
It's probably worth mentioning Narelle was a centre half back in her day, so our height probably doesn't attest to
I
that.
wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of it, that's for sure. One question I must ask, one of the girls that I do know, Lauren Buchanan, I know has become an important part of the side. Tell us a bit about her. I know she's got a sprinting background. How's she settling in and what's she bringing to the side?
Look, I watched a little bit of Lauren's football last year at Morpheville Park, where I used to coach, and so I knew that she was pretty capable. But after round one, you know, watching the way she, you know, positions herself and she's able to get in the right spot to receive the ball, but then when it's her turn to go at a hard contest, then she's quite willing to do that. And, you know, she doesn't look overly fast, but when she has the ball in hand, she can sprint and get away from contests. And yeah, she's just been super. I'm so impressed with her, and she's such a great person, and that really fits with our group.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask Cassie this question because I know the coach will just trot out the normal line that all coaches do, but it's far too early to talk about premierships and finals football and all that. But Cassie, it must be a little bit exciting at the moment to be 2-1. Let's go out on a limb and say the loss was a bit of a hiccup. It probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So with a bit of luck, we could be 3-0, which would have made us favourites at the moment. I know it's even, but how are you setting yourself, and are you looking forward to playing finals?
I am looking forward because it's actually the top two will be in the grand final. So it probably means that each game for us is a final, because each game is just as important because it is so close. So I think that helps, that there shouldn't be hopefully any more dips, because we have to approach every game as if it is a final.
Well, I'll tell you what, I probably never saw the day I'd be standing here interviewing a female football coach at Glenelg Football Club and a female skipper at Glenelg Football Club, but it's exciting times for the club. Sport in South Australia is flourishing at the moment, in particular women's sport, so congratulations to both of you. It's been fantastic for the footy club, and look forward to you both having a successful year, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Thanks, girls.